Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money. With your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here with episode 501 of Screw the Commute podcast. Today we're going to do another session of Ask Me a Question. You know, I could probably have done all 500 of these episodes with Ask Me a Question because there's so many facets to online marketing and offline marketing and publicity and entrepreneurship and all the stuff that I've been into for all these years. But anyway, this will be an Ask Me a Question. Now, I hope you didn't miss episode 500. That was our special edition, Antion Success Method. It's a little bit longer episode, but there's lots of gems in there that came pretty much from what I learned from my father over many years. And if you happen to be listening to this today, we're keeping the 50% off sale good. It was supposed to end yesterday, but we're going to extend it through tonight. So check that out at screwthecommute.com/resources, screwthecommute.com/resources. Now, how'd you like me to send you big affiliate commissions? Well, email me at tom@screwthecommute.com and I'll give you details on how you can make big commissions referring my products and services. And we hardly ever get refunds because we take care of customers around here. So you don't have to worry about getting complaints from people when you deal with us. So email me at tom@screwthecommute.com. We'll give you details. Now, pick up a copy of our automation ebook at screwthecommute.com/automate-free, screwthecommute.com/automate-free. And this book has helped me save millions and millions, literally millions and millions of keystrokes and handle customers lightning fast. And that's why we have such a good reputation, and allows me to ethically steal customers from other people who are too slow to get back to prospects. You know, if you get back fast, you have the greater chance of making the business, see? So you got to take care of people. So grab a copy of that at screwthecommute.com/automate-free, screwthecommute.com/automate-free. And while you're at it, pick up a copy of our podcast app at screwthecommute.com/app. That's APP, where you can put us on your cell phone and tablet and take us with you on the road. Now, we'd really love your help with our pilot program to help persons with disabilities. We are putting scholarship folks through my school, so not only can they learn from a distance school, they can legitimately be hired from a distance school and or start their own business. So once I put about 5 people through and get them hired or get them in their own business, then I took a grant writing course. I'm going to go big and get some big money from some big companies to help loads and loads of persons with disabilities. So please help out with that. We're doing a GoFundMe campaign, and part of the money is going to be used to hire persons with disabilities to help run the program. So check it out at imtcva.org. That's my school site. And of course, it'll be in the show notes, /disabilities, and click on the GoFundMe campaign, and you can see updates from the people. They're very inspiring, these people that are in the program currently. All right, let's get to the main event. So first question comes, Tom, I want to start a membership site. What should I do? Well, I mean, of course, first of all, you got to make sure you got a topic that anybody wants. All right, that'd be the first thing. But if you're talking about the mechanics of doing it, here's the thing. You can pay a lot of money, $100, $200, $300, $400 a month or more for turnkey membership sites. Now, you still have to load it with information, so it's just the mechanics of it. So with my frugal background, there's just no way I want to do that. I want maximum profits with minimum expense. Doesn't mean minimum quality. It means minimum expense. So we put together membership sites. We use WordPress, which is the gold standard of websites. Don't let anybody tell you anything different because they just don't know any better. With a plugin called Wishlist Member. I think that cost you about $150. You can buy a lifetime membership too, but about $150 a year. and then a couple other small plugins for 40 or 50 bucks to automate everything. And yeah, it's a little more hassle in the beginning to set it up. I agree. But if you can save, let's say you were paying $300 a month for some turnkey thing, that's $3,600 a year instead of $150. I don't think you're making good decisions if you make those kind of financial decisions when you can have the same quality with a little bit more effort on the startup end. And then multiply that by years, 10 years, you got 36,000 as opposed to 1,500, in your membership site. All right. So it just doesn't make any sense. So that's the way we do it. We use Wishlist Member. Of course, it has to be tied to your shopping cart and, all that stuff. But no matter what you do, that's the case, unless you just use PayPal. But, you've probably heard me saying there's a stigma to only having PayPal. People think you're like a reject from eBay. So you probably want to have a real merchant account, a real shopping cart like Kickstart Cart, and your membership stuff, plugins installed on your WordPress site. All right. Next question. I heard you talk about temperature when it had to do with advertising, and I just, I was in a hurry. I couldn't, this is the question that came in. I was in a hurry. I really couldn't put it together real quick. So could you please talk about temperature when it comes to paid ads online? Okay, sure I can. So there's 3 types of ads when it comes to temperature, like the type of ad that you should put in depending on the temperature. And I'm going to explain that to you, what temperature means, of the person that you want to view the ad. So if you're just putting an ad out that's what we call cold, in other words, the person that sees the ad has never heard of you, probably never heard of you, unless you're, a celebrity, and then this doesn't matter so much. So they never heard of you. They never visited your website that you can tell. They never visited your blog. They never watched your YouTube videos, nothing. That's called a cold temperature. Almost like cold calling, that's, I made one cold call my whole life. I couldn't stand it. So if you're going to put an ad like that in, there's certain things that you have to do in the ad. First of all, in the first 5 seconds, you want to establish credibility. You want to hold up a book that you wrote or something about the topic. Well, first of all, you always, of course, have to target the right people. If you're targeting people that love sci-fi novels and you're doing a business book, well, that's poor targeting. So you're targeting the right people, but they don't know you. That's a cold thing. So in the first couple seconds, you just have to really do something to grab their attention and show your credibility, like hold your book up or some statistic, or I've been teaching internet for 27 years, something like that would be for me. So you got to grab them quick and give them something that helps them. Most of the time, we don't even go for an opt-in or give them a freebie or anything at this point. We want them to see us and start recognizing us. So that's a cold ad. Now, yeah, some people try to go for an opt-in or something on a cold ad, and it can work. But I'm just saying, when you're looking at temperatures of audiences, they're even reluctant to give you their email if they never heard of you before. So if you give them some good tip or something, so they're more likely to react as you move them along, like the trust scale. The next phase of this is a warm audience. And a warm audience has seen you or read something of yours or watched one of your videos or saw one of your ads or something. And this is through a process called pixeling. Now, it's not the pixel like the number of pixels in a photo. No, this is a different kind of pixel. I think of it and teach people to think of it like a cookie. You've heard of cookies, where if you stop at a website, it says, "Oh, do you accept the cookies?" Okay. And just that means that they recognize that you stopped, but they don't know who you are. They don't know any personal information about you. They just know that you were there. So if you set up your pixels so that, let's say somebody watched one of your YouTube videos on a certain topic. Well, if you pixel them, then you can then advertise back to them knowing that they watched that video, say. And so that way you can target the ad more carefully. So instead of it being all general, it can actually say something. Hey, I know you watched my YouTube video on X, Y, and Z, and we have a free report that goes into much more detail than the video did, so that you can start pursuing this XYZ topic, something like that. So the pixel told you that they had seen the video, and then you create what is called an audience of everybody that saw that video and have been pixeled. And then you can advertise just to that audience. And that's where you can, and it's a warm audience. They haven't spent any money, but they have heard of you or been exposed to some of your material. So that's a warm audience. Now, a hot audience is an audience that's purchased something or been on a lot, seen a lot of your stuff. So in that case, you don't have to introduce yourself to them. You know that they know who you are. You know what they've seen and what they've read of yours. And so you can go right for the sale of something or for an opt-in or whatever. You can do the opt-in on the warm audiences too, but you can be more aggressive in that, hey, they like you enough that they've done a lot of your stuff. They've seen a lot of your stuff, and it wasn't like a one-time slam, bam, thank you, ma'am kind of thing. See, so that's more of a hot audience. You don't have to, show your credentials off the bat because they know who you are already. So that's why you vary your ad depending on the temperature of the audience. And that's what it is. Cold, never heard of you. Warm has heard of you in some fashion or seen something, at least one thing that you've done. And hot has seen a lot of stuff or actually are customers. That's a little bit more about temperature of audiences. Okay, let's see. So one other thing that came in that with regard to paid ads is if you want to get robbed easily, go put an ad in Facebook or Google, and then let's say for $5 a day, and you start getting some success, and so you jack it up to $20 a day. You just screamed. You might as well go down to the local cheerleader shop and buy a big megaphone and yell, "I'm an idiot. I don't know what I'm doing. Take all my money." All right. So, see, no professional does something like that. And so they can actually see. Now, are they going to admit to this, that they're just going to rob you because you're an idiot? No, of course not. But people that know what's going on know that they see that, and they see that no professional ever does something like that. And so they know you don't know what you're doing, and they know you're eventually going to quit because you're never going to make any money because you don't know what you're doing. And so they're just going to take all your money as fast as they can before you quit. So that's, like I said, nobody's going to admit to that. You get them up on the Hill in DC and put them in front of Congress, and they're still not going to admit to it. Right? So, but that's the way it is. So when you are putting an ad in, don't raise your budget more than 20% every couple days, because that's what professionals do. They want to make sure that the ad is working, not just a fluke or Facebook or Google or some other place where you're advertising. Just put it in the best places to suck you in, and then knowing that the people that don't know any better are going to jack their budgets up, and then they're going to steal all that money when the ad starts running in just normal places or places that don't get much response. Say they can control all of this. They're like the Wizard of Oz. They know all, see all. You just can't believe that's what they know about you just because what you do. Not only the fact that they've got all your information on your pages and your personal profiles. So don't raise more than 20%. Now, that's not the only thing that's going to scream you don't know what you're doing. I mean, so get some good training if you're going to add. But we love paid ads because you can turn them on and off at will. See? Okay, next question. Should I advertise on Quora? This is another advertising question. Well, Quora is one of many places. Quora is a place where people ask questions and other people jump in with answers. And it's, one of many places like Reddit and, there's all kinds of places that you can do this. But and all of them can be worthwhile, but you have to test and you have to be persistent and consistent and learn their system. So you can answer questions for free and just get your name around. You can be in their partner program. You can advertise on there. So it's all a testing process. But, don't decide that, okay, I'm going to advertise on Quora one time and see how it goes. No, that's, you can't go anywhere and advertise one time and see how it goes and think that that was a valid test of that, that particular company. No, you have to test stuff. I mean, you can put questions on the site and have people answer them to get your name around. You can have a certain ad show when people ask questions about a certain topic. So you can do that. And I got to tell you, you need to, if you're going to answer questions to get known as an expert, you got to do it fast because you'll get buried 1,000 results down and then nobody will see your name. You're wasting your time. So anyway, you got to learn stuff like that about whatever, Reddit or Quora. But I mean, tell you, Reddit, they eat their young at Reddit. So you really need to know what you're doing at Reddit so that people don't start really trolling you. All right. So yes, you can advertise on those places, but you still need to give it a fair shot. Okay, Tom, what do I do with these title tags I hear you talking about? Well, first of all, you probably should listen to episode 469, which is Basic SEO, Search Engine Optimization. If you're going to do any search engine optimization, at least do the basics that don't cost you anything. I mean, the SEO people don't like me very much because I just say, it's just something that used to be great for me years and years ago. I was the top of the top. But now it's just too hard and too much trouble. And you can just, like I said, you can turn on and off ads within a day or so, where anything you do with search engine optimization could take months, if ever, to get you anywhere. So I'm not a big fan of that, but I do want you to learn the basics. Like I said, episode 469 is good for that, but I will give you some of the stuff now. So title tags are in your HTML code. They're clear near the top of your page, but when you look at your website in a browser, you don't really see the title tags as part of your site. The only way to see them is to hold your mouse over the tab of the browser clear at the top of the screen. And a little box will pop out, and that'll be what's in your title tags for that particular page. So one thing is don't put home, don't just leave it default like homepage of Antion.com. In fact, you never even see Antion or Tom Antion in any of my title tags. I want people that never heard of me to find me. If they heard of me, they'll find me. See, and every page is different. A lot of times some worthless web designer that doesn't know any better will just leave it at the default. And almost every page looks identical to Google. When they look at your website, they send their spiders out to look when somebody's searching for something. So you've got to individually, each page of your website, find, and prior to this, you should have done your keyword research, which is episode 1 and episode 130. And then you have the keywords ready to go to plug in to the title tag for the individual pages. Now, to do this, you used to have a geek to do it because it was way buried in the code. But now you have a plugin for WordPress called Yoast, or the other one's called All-in-One SEO Pack. You wouldn't have both of them. And it makes it easy for anybody to just put their keywords and it shows them up in the proper place in your code. And I don't want you going into the code and bringing your whole site down because you don't know what you're doing. So yes, we want the title tags different for each page, and it has to make sense for your site. But in episode 469, I go into a bunch of other places while you're doing this that you don't need an SEO expert to do. Example would be putting heading 1 or heading 2 tags on certain words, bolding them, skewing the best words or the most important words for that page near the top of the site, putting them in links. All of this is telling the search engines that those words are important. And don't do what one of my new students has been trying to do, is load a bunch of keywords at the bottom of the page that are close to the same color as the background. That went out 15 years ago. You'll get banned for doing that. So don't do that kind of stuff. So there's loads of ways. Like I said, I go in depth in them on episode 469. The big one that's like 70, 80, 90% of your success with search engines is the title tag. So learn how to get your keywords in the title tag and make sure they're different on every page, because if you just leave it at the default, Google says, why should I give this page a high ranking if every page is identical? Because the spiders start at the top of the page and work down. And if they see the title tag isn't what the person was looking for, and they see every page of your site is identical, that's what it looks like to the search engine spider, then they just put you into oblivion. You'll never see the light of day. So learn how to do that. Okay, one more reminder before I get to the really cool last question here is please help me out on this GoFundMe campaign to help persons with disabilities. I mean, it'll be one of the best things you ever did in your life, because we're changing the lives of these people so that they can be gainfully employed or have their own business and, off the welfare rolls and, all the great things that we can do for these people. So give me a hand on that. Check out imtcva.org and /disabilities, plural. Then click on the GoFundMe campaign. You'll see update videos as of this recording from Tammy Stevens, Charlie Collins. Both, by the way, are blind, and they're going through my school. All right, so very inspirational people. And you got Robbie is in there, and we've got 2 slots available for other people that we're checking out. So it's a great program. It's going to do big things for people in the world, and you could be proud to be part of it. And I'm thrilled to have your help. All right. So last thing, question is about, Tom, tell me about this PLR stuff. Well, PLR stands for private label rights. I went into this in depth in my ebook mastermind course, which we'll have another one coming up here pretty soon. Let me know if you're interested in that. Yeah, it was a 12-week course, and we went deep into ebooks and stuff. Private label rights means that you can purchase a pre-written book for very little money. I think the most I ever paid was $15, and I've paid as little as $5 for a completely written book, ebook, right? Now, did I just put it out under my name, which you're allowed to do most cases? They tell you what rights you're buying, private label rights. It's like my shopping cart is a division of one shopping cart, but my private label that I've had for 20 years is Kickstart Cart. And then I add value to it, similar to this private label rights ebook. So with Kickstart Cart, I give free training forever, one-on-one. Myself or Larry or Travis or somebody will give you one-on-one training to show you how to use it totally for free. See, so I added value to the basic thing. Well, that's what happens with PLR books. I might buy a PLR book, and then I go in and I delete the stuff that I don't believe in. I add my own stories and my own information, and I jazz it up and make it my own. No other person would recognize it as a PLR book, because I put a cover on it, and I, like I said, put in all this other stuff that I know. And one of the reasons I do it, it's not that I couldn't write books on whatever the topic is. It's the fact that I'm busy. And if somebody else just lays it all out and has the chapters out there, and, it just makes it easier on me to get started. So it saves me a lot of research and thinking, sitting there thinking, all right, which chapter should be here or there? Let somebody else think about that. And I might change it if I see that that doesn't make sense, because the chances are they're not as experienced as me, but they get me started for $5 to $15. And sometimes they throw in a sales letter, and they all the graphics, everything. See? So it's a way to get an ebook going really quickly, but I just highly encourage you, just don't put your name on when you buy one, because 1,000 other people might have bought the same book. So you just never would recognize any books that I came out with as being PLR, because it's all personalized with my stuff. So all you have to do to find more, I mean, you'll be sitting there all day if you just type in PLR and the topic that you're interested in. PLR health books, PLR archery books, whatever you can think of. There's somebody who's written a book on it already that'll sell it to you cheap. Sometimes it's called white label also. So that's it, folks. That's my Ask Me a Question. Remember, you can still go to screwthecommute.com/resources up till, I think, midnight tonight, and 50% off on everything I have except protection dogs. I can't do it for them. So check it out, screwthecommute.com/resources, and I will catch you on the next episode. Catch you later.